Hey guys, Vinny Paracella. This is my fictional case study presentation. I appreciate you guys watching and hope you're all doing well. The movie I chose for this project is Thank You for Smoking, directed by Jason Reitman, starring Aaron Eckhart. I chose this movie because it presents a significant and difficult moral and ethical dilemma that most will be able to understand and relate to. If you haven't seen this movie, I definitely recommend it. The main character in this movie is Nick Naylor. He's a smooth-talking big tobacco lobbyist who is chief spokesman and vice president for the Academy of Tobacco Studies, a company which promotes smoking and delivers studies downplaying the negative health effects of smoking cigarettes and claims there is no evidence it is linked to cancer. Nick represents and defends big tobacco companies in the media and works to enhance the cigarette business. He has a gift for talking to people and convincing them to see his way. The other main character in this movie is Nick's son, Joey, who's with him part-time on the weekends. Joey is intelligent and looks up to Nick, seemingly influenced by his characteristics and drive. The case in this movie. Nick defends big tobacco companies that cause detrimental health problems, but he claims it's for a good cause because he needs to defend the defenseless and, quote, everyone's got a mortgage to pay. He states people have a freedom to make their own choices, which helps him feel better about his career. Nick tells Joey he has a, quote, moral flexibility, which is essentially an ability to see past many moral and ethical dilemmas. In this movie, Nick does several seemingly unethical acts. He lobbies against politicians who want to put intimidating images on the back of cigarette packs to portray the dangers of them. He meets with film producers and pitches the idea of putting cigarettes back in the movie so they'll appeal to young adults. He gives a large sum of cash to the former Marlboro man who is now deathly ill from cigarettes in order for the Marlboro man not to speak out against Nick when he goes against the politicians against the image on the cigarettes. Nick even goes into his son's career day telling them what he does for a living and not necessarily saying that cigarettes are bad for you, but it's more about the right to smoke that's what's most important. I have two questions in this case study. What is the balance between one's own success and well-being and promoting something that can negatively and detrimentally affect the lives of others? And the second one is, how would Joey's opinion of Nick differ than Nick's opinion of himself, and what factors would influence that? Nick defends the big tobacco industry, which employs thousands of people and is a job he is good at and enjoys. Nick uses this job to indeed pay his mortgage and contribute to his well-being, and he sticks up for the people who rely on the industry for their own livelihood. People do in fact have the freedom to smoke if they want to, and most know about the negative health effects of cigarettes. On the other hand, smoking is related to about 1,200 deaths per day and has detrimental health effects. Nick's son is heavily influenced by his father and observes as he defends tobacco use against the known serious health risk. In regard to my questions earlier, I believe the balance between one's own well-being and the welfare of others is completely relative. Yes, smoking is linked to over 1,000 deaths per day, yet smoking is a choice that people have the freedom to make or not, and are informed of the dangers of smoking as written on the back of the packs. This case is obviously an extreme example, as Nick plots to get cigarettes to appeal to young adults and teenagers, and I couldn't in good faith do that. I believe Joey, at the middle school age he is in the movie, would look up to his father and career and be easily influenced by him. Nick pitches his career and motives in a righteous manner, disguising any negative morality with a spin on helping others. Nick, at this point in his life, is capable of understanding the difference between right and wrong and should have developed a moral compass. But he prides himself on his moral flexibility and almost brags about the fact that he can get past most ethical and moral dilemmas. Nick eventually quits the tobacco industry after seemingly reflecting on how his son is being influenced by him, showing that he does have an understanding of the bigger picture. Although I acknowledge that people have the right to make their own choices, especially in regard to smoking, I do not believe I could follow through with a career like this. Withholding admissions of the known dangers of the product to a young base would be extremely difficult, especially with opposition and the guilt from others, making the dilemma even heavier. If I was in this situation, I don't believe I would have the emotional capability to continue this career. There are plenty of other industries that this skill set would be useful in. They may not have the same salary, but they would not involve a moral dilemma like this one.